All right, so I know this is kind of a clickbaity title, but I wanted to talk about why I think this is a great time to buy soccer cards, and I really do believe this. And I'm going to go into 4 reasons why I think now is as good a time as ever to buy soccer cards. So a quick disclaimer, obviously this is not financial advice. I'm not saying that buying soccer cards today will make you rich, or if you buy today, these cards will go up X, Y% over time. I'm just saying that I think as somebody who is in this market, who likes to buy cards, who likes to collect cards, I think this is a good entry point in terms of prices, as well as just overall, market attention and interest and sentiment that I'll get into in a bit. Obviously, this is my opinion, and it's for discussion, entertainment purposes. You may not agree. Would love to hear if you agree or not in the comments, but please do your own research. And remember, I'm just a guy on the internet who likes soccer cards, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. And yeah, let's have fun. So really quick, just when we think about opportunities in a market, and this is sort of like the foundation for some of the points that I'm going to bring up later in this video, opportunities in a market are influenced by a number of things. So prices, in terms of like if a price will go up or down, is primarily influenced by supply and demand. So in a given market, you have a level of supply and a level of demand. And when they are in equilibrium, you basically have like a price and quantity that will be sold at that supply and that demand, until something changes. So an increase in demand would result in an increase in price, all things equal. So if there's 100 of something being sold and there's 100 buyers, it's pretty easy for everyone to get one. But let's say now there's 300 buyers for those 100 things. Well, more than likely the price of that thing will go up because now there's more competition for that limited amount of supply. And this works both, for supply as well. Like for a level of demand, if you decrease supply, the price will go up, and vice versa. If you were to increase supply, holding demand constant, the price would go down. And we kind of see this in like sports card boxes, right? Where companies are overprinting, or I shouldn't say overprinting, like printing more quantities than what they had in the past. And I think overall demand in the sports card market has dropped since the peak a couple years ago. So we're seeing, cheaper price points on boxes and therefore on singles and things like that. This also assumes an efficient market. So supply and demand are in equilibrium when everything's efficient. You could argue that sports cards, and especially soccer card market, is not necessarily a perfectly efficient market. So that also provides opportunities when we think about buying and selling, when we can identify market inefficiencies and take advantage of those. So just wanted to provide that context before I get into my 4 reasons why I think this is a great time to buy soccer cards. So the first reason why I think this is a great time is just the overall attention on soccer and soccer cards. So the World Cup is going on. That drives a lot of attention on soccer and, soccer cards, especially in the US. Participants in other card markets are at least mildly interested. Part of this is because this is a hype event, and in other sports like basketball or football, they're kind of in like the middle of the season right now. There's nothing really going on. And so at the very least, there's at least some, attention shifting to soccer. This is helped by the fact that we have a new World Cup Prism release and other World Cup related releases. We also have a U.S. men's national team that, had an exciting tournament and, a disappointing exit, but showed that like they have a bright future and can compete with some of the biggest teams in the world. And so this new interest in soccer, in the soccer card market, it can come either through, net new market participants, which sure, there's probably some, but just given the macro economy, I wouldn't expect this to be the biggest driver. But what I do think is happening is a shifting of focus from other sports to soccer. And when I think about more attention, I really just think about this through like more attention on soccer and soccer cards means there's more opportunity for growth in soccer cards in the long term and more eventual demand. So it's this shifting of attention to the soccer card market, which I think will ultimately, especially leading up to the next World Cup, help provide more organic growth than just the number of participants that are even at least mildly interested in the soccer card hobby. So number 2, and this is probably my favorite reason, is that soccer cards, I believe, have a less mature, or maybe another way to put it is a more nuanced market than other sports. And so this happens for a number of reasons, but one is there's different eras of cards. So there's vintage cards, which are mostly stickers and are relatively rare. And then we have, pre-modern and the modern and ultra-modern, which, the more modern you get, the more you get more towards like cards, your typical card production companies like Panini and Topps, whereas like the older vintage stickers could be found in like magazines or like cigarette boxes or, kind of all over the place in different parts of the world. And were not necessarily meant for investment. They were just these, things that represented, the popular sports in the countries that they came from. And so there's definitely this big difference between like vintage products and more modern products. And then stickers versus cards, I kind of talked about that. But you have this idea of manufactured rarity versus condition rarity. So manufactured rarity is I make a card and it's out of 99. So there's 99 of that card. Whereas condition rarity is like, hey, back in 1955 in Spain, they added these stickers into the cigarette boxes and most people just threw them away and some people kept them, but in general, they're not in very good condition. So if you can find one that's in anywhere near good condition, that's like, large condition rarity. And in a lot of cases, we don't even know how many they printed, since most of them probably got thrown away. But that's where we have this, again, difference between like stickers and cards. Another thing that you have is with cards, you have licensed products, Panini and Topps. They're licensed to produce the sports that they produce. They have deals with the different sports leagues, whereas stickers, again, historically were produced obviously by Panini, but also by other companies. And like I said, in some cases, even, just like magazines or cigarette manufacturers. And so you just have a bit more potential for fakes, partially because it's not always easy to determine where these stickers are coming from. And just given that the technology was such back then that they're a little more easy to counterfeit. And we've actually seen counterfeit stickers be graded by some of the big grading companies. And then the other thing I would say is like in many older sets and players, you only have stickers. Like it's really, they only have like stickers for the most part in a lot of vintage sets, whereas in modern, there are stickers, but they're very highly produced, overprinted stickers from Panini. So, if you're looking at modern players or, rookie cards, you're probably looking more at actual cards. And then the last thing I'll say here is just this idea of rookie card consistency. So between stickers and cards, it's not always easy to determine which one is like the player's rookie. So sometimes a player will have a sticker that comes out years before they ever have a card. And so is that sticker their rookie, the quote unquote rookie, or is their first card their rookie? And then similarly between Topps and Panini, a player might appear in one years before they appear in the other, but both will consider them their rookies. So Harvey Elliott's a good example where he has a Topps Now card from 2018 that people consider his rookie card. But then he also has the rookie card logo on the Panini releases. So this is from 2021 Obsidian, where he has a rookie card logo here, even though this is like the third year that he had, cards. So, and then finally, Darwin Nunez, is an example of a player who's only in one set. And so he has a very limited number of rookie cards, whereas Pedri and Jude Bellingham are in every set from 2020. And even though they're like some of the brightest young stars in the world, they just have hundreds and hundreds of different types of rookie cards, which makes the calculus of investing or buying those players just kind of out of whack between players. Whereas in like other sports, you have a draft class and then they all have like all those players are rookies in each set. And so it's a little more consistent. Whereas in soccer, it can kind of be all over the place depending on the type of set, what teams are included, what players are included, and whether those players have appeared in other sets or have stickers or things like that. So all this to say that there's just a lot to navigate and figure out, which I think makes the market overall more inefficient, which I think from a buying and just collecting standpoint makes it more fun because there's more opportunity to just figure stuff out and find advantages and opportunities. So the third thing is kind of the elephant in the room. It's the current state of the market. So I'm not going to say here that everything's going great. There is a lot of supply of market crashing content on YouTube, and I get it. It's definitely kind of the overarching reason why a lot of cards are going down, or why things are just not going well overall, is because from a macroeconomic standpoint, the economy's not doing well. People don't have as much disposable income, and therefore there's less money pumping into things like sports cards. So I totally get it. I do think this macroeconomic environment is suppressing some of the expected like World Cup bump that we were maybe expecting, where we expected, there's gonna be a lot of hype leading up to the World Cup. We expect more eyeballs, more attention, so like prices will go up. But I think just in general, it's there's the macroeconomic environment, and there's also a lot of just supply hitting the market too that's keeping prices from really there's just not quite enough demand to like keep prices moving upward. But this depressed market means favorable buying opportunities, both for grails like Messi rookies. They're cheaper than they were before the market boom. People have less disposable income, which is, like I said, decreasing demand and decreasing competition for some of these cards, which is leading to much lower price points than what we've seen for a while. And this is highlighted in golden auctions and what we can probably expect as a post World Cup dip. The World Cup auction ended a couple days ago. Prices were much lower on a lot of cards than they had been anytime since before the really big market boom. PWCC's been having problems with servers and relisting cards, and them selling for way less than what they would have sold for during the server outage. And so all this just means that there's just more opportunities for buyers to get in at good price points. And finally, if and when soccer becomes more popular in the US, and I really do believe it's continuing to become more popular, will it become the most popular sport? I don't know, probably not. Or if it does, it'll probably take a while. But at least leading up to the 2026 World Cup, given the way the men's national team performed at this World Cup, I really believe that soccer will continue to gain popularity over the next 4 years. And if and when that happens, I think demand will organically continue to increase along with that. And then finally, this is just a card ladder index for soccer. You can see a year ago, this is December 2021, it was right under 25,000, 2442, and now it's at 1972. Basically just showing that like the overall market is down about 21% year over year, which I'm not saying this is the bottom, but the fact that this market has continued to trickle down, like eventually we will be hitting a bottom. And I think that's just going to continue to open up some of these buying opportunities that I discussed. And finally, the fourth reason why I think this is a great time to buy soccer cards is just the fundamentals around soccer cards. So soccer card pop reports. And I think for ultra modern even, there's a relatively limited supply of cards. And again, relative to other sports. For pre-modern and vintage, there's an objectively limited supply in the sense that there are not a lot of cards or stickers for a lot of all-time great players. And this is obviously subject to some of the market nuances and inefficiencies that we've already discussed, but in general, many players and sets have specific manufacturer rarity. Both, you think of sets like 2018 Treble, even like 2017 Topps Chrome. Some of the big modern sets have manufacturer rarity built into them. Then you have vintage stickers and cards that have both manufacturer rarity and condition rarity, which basically means that like population reports for some of the all-time great players, Cruyff, Pele, Maradona, they are more or less set in the sense that they're not going to double, most likely. And even if they did double, they're already so much lower than other sports that they're just capped in terms of like the population. So as soccer increases and demand increases for some of these older players, and even, like I said, even some of the modern cards, there's just a built-in cap, at least so far. Going forward, who's to say? I anticipate card companies will continue to produce more if the demand is there. So this might not hold going forward, but at least historically, pop reports are relatively capped, at least relative to other sports. And like I said, it's almost impossible for certain cards and sets to ever meaningfully increase in population. And so like this supply cap is basically providing, gives like a demand floor, and it really increases the ceiling if the demand really continues to increase. And so in this table, I just showed, this is again just not all apples to apples, but just I picked some of the all-time greats of different sports. You can see Tom Brady, his highest population rookie card, which is one of many rookie cards, is the 2000 Bowman. There's almost 6,000 of them, 4,000 of them in PSA 8 or higher. Michael Jordan, his 86 Fleer, which is like one of the most iconic sports cards in existence. There's 24,000 of those graded by PSA, with over 13,000 in PSA 8 or higher. And then Mickey Mantle, baseball, 52 tops. There's almost 1869, almost 2,000, only 59 in a PSA 8 or higher. And so you can see here, I just included Johan Cruyff. I included basically his kind of highest pop rookie card, which is the 68 to 70 Vanderhoot. 186 total graded by PSA, 19 in PSA 8 or higher. So you can see soccer is kind of more akin to like vintage baseball, whereas some of the all-time greats in some of the other sports, part of this is obviously a function of them being more modern versus vintage, but you can just see that like there's built-in cap here. Like Johan Cruyff is undeniably one of the best soccer players ever, and Michael Jordan is undeniably the best basketball player ever. And if you're going to invest in Michael Jordan, the pop is just so much higher. And so this is, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is more for demonstration purposes. There are deeper dives to be done here on Pop Reports, and I know USMNT Soccer Cards does like a monthly Pop Report dive that I think is worth checking out. But it just highlights the fact that the Pop Reports in soccer cards are just much, much lower than they are in other sports. So if and when demand truly catches up, or even increases relative to other sports, it's possible that these Pop Reports could really help provide upward price movements. And so in conclusion, I really do believe that now or soon, maybe after the World Cup hype dies down, is a great opportunity to enter the soccer card market. And this is due to a combination of just an increasing attention on soccer cards and just soccer in general. Part of that due to the World Cup, but I don't think that all will completely just die off afterwards, especially given the U.S. men's national team's performance and the likely excitement and hype that will build towards the next World Cup. A less mature, more nuanced market relative to other sports. I think there's just more to be figured out, and there's continuing to be more to figure out in the soccer card market than there is in, say, football or basketball or baseball. The current state of the macro economy, which I think helps depress prices and provides better entry points for people. And then finally, just soccer card population reports in general. The fundamentals are there so that even if and when soccer becomes very popular and money floods into the market, we're not really at risk of there being 20,000 of some players' rookie card. There's a very limited amount, and for some players, very scarce, very hard to find in almost any condition, and some of the prices already reflect that. But I think across the board, compared to other sports, soccer card population reports are just much, much lower. So that'll do it for today. I think it's not ideal, the current market conditions, but I do think it provides a cool opportunity for people to not only get into the market, or people that are in the market to continue to kind of build out collections and build out their positions for when the market ultimately does recover. So let me know what you thought about that. Thanks for tuning into this video, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.